Hello everyone and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we're taking a look at the DX Lupin Magnum from Lupinranger vs Patranger. This is kind of cool because it's kind of a combination roleplay toy and mecha, so it's kind of like two toys in one, which is really fun. You can see here, primarily used by Lupin Red. Here's a little picture of the mecha. Here's the Magnum itself. Here is a better full body shot of the mecha robot form. And then here is just another picture of Red using it as a gun. Cool pictures here on the back. You can see it does connect to the VS changer, which of course we'll take a look at. And then it also has the ability to use the blue and yellow dial fighters as limbs. And then here's just more pictures of it transforming and connecting to the VS changer, and again with the other dial fighters. So very cool. A lot of functionality for this guy. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Nothing really going on there on the bottom. But it does include two LR44 watch batteries, so that's pretty excellent. So I think this guy's going to be a lot of fun. Let's go ahead and get him out of the box, and we'll take a closer look. Alright, so here is the Lupin Magnum out of the packaging. It's a little bit of a smaller roleplay gun, but I feel like it makes sense because it turns into a robot, and the robot has to be in scale with the other robots, so I feel like it makes sense. And it's not that tiny. It's a decent size. A lot of nice paint. You have some gold paint here on the barrel, obviously gold paint here on the handle. Oop, little preview of the sound effects there. Gold here on the back of the dial. And we'll see even more paint when we get to robot mode. A little bit of silver here in the front. So if you heard, that's the generic firing sound. Like I said, it does come with the batteries pre-installed. There's a little piece of plastic you pulled out here to connect the batteries, so you can start making the fun sounds. But I mean, you really don't even have to touch it that much. So it's a real hair trigger. But yeah, it's pretty cool. There's really not a ton to do with it on its own in gun mode. It's really just that one sound, and that's pretty much it. Now, obviously, you can connect it to the VS changer, which we'll get to in a minute. But I think first I'm going to transform it into robot mode. So if you would press this all the way in and hold it, that's what makes the legs drop down. So I'm going to push them back up, because first we're going to start with the sound effects. We push the dial up to the two blue triangles meet. And then back down. So now it'll kind of go into this like repeating sound until you push the trigger in. So you can see transformation is very basic. It's really not difficult at all. When you push the trigger in, the legs come down and they actually click into place. There is a clip right in here, and that clips into the back of the legs here. I know it's really hard to see because it's all black, but you can see it right there, and then the clip is, maybe you can't see it. There we go. There's the clip, and then there's the part it clips into on the back of the leg, which is nice because that keeps it firmly in place. Then all you do is you pull the arms out to the side, fold down this kind of crotch plate, and then swivel the arms around until they are in the correct placement. Again, a lot of nice gold paint here. Face looks fantastic. We'll get a little bit closer so we can see that. Nice gold paint there. I think the little bit of lime green breaks it up. I like that quite a bit, and the blue for the eyes looks good. You have some silver painted in there on the face, the abdomen, and kind of the thighs. A little bit of silver here on the guns, on the arm. And you have some more lime green here on the knees. So I like it quite a bit. I like the little robot mode. I think he's cool. I think it's a bummer that this piece that connects to the VS changer gets stuck on his head. I almost wish that could kind of fold back in robot mode and then clip forward, but I understand why they couldn't do that. In this mode, really the only articulation, you have the shoulder like that, and then you have the arms that can move a little bit out. But he's got these little guns mounted here on his wrists. So, I mean, a typical Sentai Mecha don't really have a ton of articulation, so that's kind of par for the course. Here's the speaker here in his chest. But I really do like the design. It's a little bit of a bummer that he's got so much empty space here in the arms. but that's because you have to get the clearance for the connector port, so I understand it. And really, just looking straight on, you don't notice it that much. It's only when you turn it to the side. He also obviously has the giant, back trigger section of the gun hanging off his butt. But again, not really much you can do about it. And strangely enough, you don't really notice it that much in robot mode. It kind of blends in well enough that I think it kind of works. So he definitely looks a little goofy, but I really like his design. And then here, for a size comparison, where did I get? Hold on. I'm going to put his arms back on so he really plays the part. Here is Lupinranger. So you can see he's definitely shorter than Lupinranger. By about like a head tall. Like he probably comes up to about his shoulders. Maybe even a little bit shorter than the shoulders, but I still think it's cool. It's like his little sidekick. It's like the Robin to his Batman. I don't know. It's just kind of neat. I like it. I think it looks cool. So I'll take him out of here. What we can do, though, which is a pretty cool little feature. Move this back in. You can swing the arms back. Actually, this one has to go around. I think it's weird. I think the instructions tell you technically to go all the way around, but my one arm can move all the way around. This one doesn't want to move back. Oh, there it goes. It was really tight, though, so I feel like it didn't want me to move it back that way. But in any case, you put the arms straight back, and then you can bring in the arms from Lupinranger. Let me disconnect them very quickly. And then they just pop on like this. And I think it's funny how, even though he's so much shorter than Lupinranger, they don't look ridiculously out of place. I mean, you can tell that they're larger, and they definitely, look larger on this guy, but not so much that I think it looks ridiculous. So I think it does look pretty cool. And at this point, you're going to have 2 points of articulation because the shoulder can move here, and also you can move on the connector port. So you could technically move the shoulders whichever way you like. But that's kind of neat. I don't know. I like it. It definitely makes him kind of like a bruiser. Like it makes him seem like almost like a gorilla, like because he's kind of shorter but with longer arms. He just kind of looks sturdy and ready to fight. So I kind of like that. Now these aren't the only 2 limbs you can put on. Obviously these are just standard connector ports, so you can put on any limbs that you'd like. So just for fun, I have the 2 giant crane ones. Well, technically this is a fire engine, but they're the same mold. I think that looks kind of cool. Now again, he's got, because of trigger machines, he's got these pieces that stick up top, but I think it looks kind of neat. And you can have some fun, just mix and match all the crazy limbs. I will say this one, I was a little worried that with the wheels it wasn't going to connect, but it just connects, so it shouldn't be a problem. And again, you can move these at this or at the other shoulder, so. I mean, the trigger machine will stop it from going any farther than that, but you can still move it at that joint. So, pretty cool. I like the little robot mode. I think it's fun. So, bringing in the VS changer here, you're going to go ahead and connect this like you would anything else. So, all the sounds are coming from the Lupin Magnum, and once again, it's in this kind of, like, I'll just keep looping this stasis song until you do something. But the trigger on this does nothing. Even if you were to change this, it does nothing. There's no sound effects there. The only sound effects you really get is when you connect it on and off. So now hit the trigger. Okay, so that stops it. Basically, what you're going to do now is you're going to do very much like we did when we wanted to transform him into robot mode. You're going to take this blue triangle and rotate it up till it hits the other triangle, and then rotate it back. So basically, you get a different sound for how many times you do it. You can do it 1 time, 2 times, or 3 times. So that's pretty much it for its connection to the VS Changer. And unfortunately, the VS Changer doesn't really add much to it because no sounds for this come out of the VS Changer. Like, it connects, so it makes the sound when it recognizes something's been connected, but then there's not really any sounds in this for, I guess, that pin system, because it doesn't do anything, even when you transform it back and forth. So really, all this is doing is holding down this button on the top. So if you just hold this down with your finger, and now it thinks it's connected to the VS Changer. So if you don't have the VS Changer, you could still get all of the sounds out of this by just holding that button down with your finger. Now the other thing I think that does, if you hold this down, I think it prevents it from transforming. Yeah, see, it wants to go down, but because I have that held down, it can't. So that button, while held down, does prevent this from transforming with the legs coming down. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, if you don't have the VS Changer, you can absolutely get all the sounds out of this just by holding that button down while you play with the dial and the trigger. I think the Lupin Magnum is a ton of fun. This entire line has been about the mecha also being part of the roleplay toy system, and this is just kind of the perfect culmination of that. This is a standalone robot that turns into a standalone gun. So before, we've had kind of like an arm of the mecha become a piece of the roleplay toy gun, but this is kind of the perfect culmination of standalone and standalone in both forms. I love the design of the robot. I think he's very fun. Love the color scheme. The paint applications are beautiful. The gun mode, while on its own, doesn't do a ton, but if you use the VS Changer or just hold the button down on the top, you get 3 nice large attack sounds, which I think is a lot of fun. So there's definitely some good playability in this. If I had to critique or kind of complain about anything, it's a little bit small as far as a gun, but I think that makes sense, or out of necessity, it had to be that small to get the robot in the right proportions. I guess technically you could have made the robot a little bit bigger so that it was about the same size as Lupin Kaiser, but I don't know, something about him being a little bit shorter is appealing to me. It kind of makes him like a sidekick, and not as much as like a... I don't know, there's just something about that dynamic that I like quite a bit, with him being a little bit shorter. I just think that's kind of fun. But then it does necessitate a smaller gun form. But I mean, for small kids, it's not going to matter. Probably the perfect size for them. Obviously, and as an adult collector, it's a little bit small, but I don't think it's a problem. I'm probably going to display it in robot mode most of the time, because it's definitely my favorite out of the 2 modes. But, like I said, I think it's a lot of fun. I definitely recommend picking one up. If not just for the robot mode, the gun is kind of fun, and the sounds with the VS Changer are also fun, but I like the robot mode the best. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thank you so much for watching.